It's not being a 10 out of 10 with perfect dimensions.
You don't want to come
You're smart.
home and compete.
This is the number one thing that will separate you, whether you're dating or you're married. And if you're new here, what's up? I'm Natasha, founder of Adora, former single mom of 4, but now newly engaged, about to get married to my amazing guy.
And I'm Brian, coach, former bachelor, just here to give the healed and masculine perspective.
We want to help you win in the area of dating, marriage, relationships, and life. So if you're interested in learning more about feminine masculine energy in relationships, in dating and marriage, and with your hormones and everything else, then you're going to want to follow for more. Okay, you guys, so let's get right into it. We're talking all things divine feminine and masculine energies in dating and in marriage. You guys are going to love this because we're going to get into the number one thing. Ladies, listen. Okay, this is going to separate you in the dating game. And even if you're married or you're in a committed relationship, this is going to have the masculine, your man, coming right to you. Does not matter if you've been married for years. This is going to activate something inside of him. And this is something that the men need, that masculine energy needs. And even you need for you to feel good.
And it's so good. It'll give you an opportunity to hear from a man's perspective and how we process the whole masculine feminine relationship and kind of where we are with it. Because even Tosh, I'm learning things daily about myself.
When did you first get introduced to this idea of masculine feminine energy? Is that something that you thought about before? Most men don't think about this.
It's not a conscious thought.
Yeah.
Right. You know, having conversations, you can feel it, but a lot of times we just don't have a definition behind what it is. We know when we may use different words to explain it.
I'm not feeling her.
Exactly. Or even like it's just something about her. You can't put your finger on it.
Totally.
Something about her that doesn't connect. And now being able to have that definition to it really brings clarity and being able to share our mindset and our mentality when we're looking at pursuing and what we're looking for. I think it'll really open up some eyes for the women.
Yes. So here's the thing, ladies. This is so subconscious for the men. Most men aren't even aware of this. But this is what, once you're awakened to this and understand it, not at a head knowledge, but at an energy level, which is something I teach my girls in my coaching memberships, it separates you from the pack. It has everything to do with your energy and how people feel around you versus what you look like. So let's just start off. What is feminine energy versus masculine energy, and what is it not? So we ladies have been conditioned, we have been raised to believe that our value, our worth comes from how smart we are, being a boss babe, our success in business or our career, how we look, and
how you look matters.
How we look, yeah. But those things are great, but that's not what feminine energy actually is. It's not how strong you are. It's not how hard you work. It's not how much you give. It's not being a 10 out of 10 with perfect dimensions. It's not wearing red lipstick or wearing dresses or wearing lingerie or wearing, having your hair done a certain way. Like I said, those things are nice. That's not what actually really activates your magnetic, juicy, attractive, feminine energy that men need, like your man needs at a subconscious level. And you need, your hormones actually need. That's really the biggest thing that I want you to catch, is that's not what feminine energy is. The simplest way to explain feminine energy, and then we'll get the man's perspective on this, just so you guys have a bit of a knowledge base. This is not woo-woo. This is not something that's new age. I know some people think that. This is actually science, and this is how spiritual truth, this is how God's made us. So we all have feminine and masculine hormones. We can agree on that. We all have estrogen, progesterone. We also have testosterone. Same with men. Men typically have more testosterone. Women typically have more feminine hormones, the estrogen and the progesterone. Okay, so that right there shows you that women do better and feel better when the female hormones are balanced, just like men feel better and are healthier when they have healthy masculine hormonal balance. Looking at from a spiritual perspective, we look at God as the divine masculine, the head, right? He calls us the bride. Bride is feminine energy. That's the receiving energy. Even going back to the science for a second, think of a sperm. So a lot of times people are like, how do I know if I'm in my feminine or masculine? Well, the sperm is chasing. It's competing. It's chasing a target. It's hustling. It has that sense of urgency of doing and going. It's fighting for the prize, for that target. What's the prize? What's the target? The target is the egg. What's the egg's role? The egg's role is to be soft and whole and healthy, in the right position to receive. The egg actually releases chemicals that attract and pull the sperm towards it. And the egg actually decides which sperm it actually wants. But there's only one sperm there. So if you're ever wondering, am I masculine, feminine? And because we have both, right? Like I have a very, very developed masculine energy, and most women do in this day and age, because we were just taught that you need that. And a lot of women that come from backgrounds where you just were in survival mode, your mom, your parents were in survival mode, you were a single parent household, really taught that education is everything, which is so many of us women, especially coming from like immigrant backgrounds too. Your education was everything. That required head knowledge. It requires the masculine energy. The masculine energy is the head. That's why God calls himself the head, and we're the body. We are the bride. Even though we have that very developed masculine energy, we're strong, we're competing, we can do all the sports that men can do. We go get the degrees, we can go build those businesses, we can do all those things. But that is not the key to a successful relationship. That is not the key to attracting a heterosexual masculine man towards you. Because heterosexual masculine energy does not want to penetrate masculine energy. It wants to penetrate feminine energy. Feminine energy is the receiving energy. It's the pleasure. It's the fun. It's the flavor. It's the unseen part. So another way to look at it too is the masculine is the structure. It's the outer. Like even look at the man and woman body parts. The man is outwards. It's structure. The woman, her parts are unseen. She receives. So when those two things come together, it creates. So you're either creating a baby or you're creating other things that you're desiring in life, manifestations. Does that make sense, honey?
Yeah, it makes total sense. I know for us guys, even like I said earlier, a lot of times men may not know technical terms behind masculinity and femininity, even though now more than ever it's being talked about. So men are learning more now. But just looking at conversations I've had with a lot of men and even myself, for us, the main thing is just women that are open. A lot of times, women think femininity is showing how much you're able to do and accomplishments and things like that. But one thing we don't get caught up in, we don't want competition, right? We don't want to compete with a woman. We don't want to debate with a woman. Those just automatically cause us to take a step back. And like I said before, whenever we feel like it's a competition, we go into our mode, and now it's like two men going against each other, and that won't last. And anytime two men are going against each other, it's more standoffish, right? It's not that receiving or giving. We're not going to do for if we feel like we're in competition. It's really understanding that, and even when we're looking, right, we're not looking necessarily, even though looks are at the top of our list. We'll take someone who, instead of being a 9 or 10, right, we'll take someone who's a 6, 7, and be fine with them as long as they're feminine. They allow us to lead, even if they're smart, because being smart, having an education is important. Being educated,
intelligence is different than education.
Not necessarily school education, but just being educated and being able to hold conversations is very important. We'll take a 6 or 7 who's more feminine than a 9 or 10 in looks, where standoffish, where she's super independent. She's been doing things herself, and she just wants to show you that she can do as much as you can. We'll stay away from that, because our main thing is we want peace, right? And we want to be able to come home and relax. We want to have conversations. Like being out in the world, it's enough conversations where men are competing. You don't want to come home and compete, right? You don't want to come home and have to handle a woman. I've heard a lot of women, say, well, maybe he can't handle me. Maybe, and in most cases, men just don't want to handle. So we'll step away from that. We can buy you a nose, buy you breasts. We can buy you a facelift, right, and turn you into a 9 or 10. But
not to say that all men want that,
right?
But what he's trying to say is that your looks are so easily changed.
Yes, that changes.
Like makeup, hair, get your hair done. get some Botox, babe, like you're good. That stuff
But
is easily
yes,
changed, where your energy, if you're not aware, that's going to cause a lot of
but our
issues.
attraction and what we desire, someone we actually want to be with and grow with, and we can learn to trust and help build together, it would be a real feminine woman who's a 6 or 7. If the only thing that's different is their energy, we'll take a 6 or 7.
And
So
I can just hear the women's triggered voices in their heads right now. How come it's always about us? Blah, blah, blah. I don't understand. I'm this, I'm this, I'm this. I see this all the time on the internet. I'm like, I have to talk about this. Ladies, let me like interpret what he's just saying so you can
right,
understand
because
this
men
clearly.
understand me.
Men are a little bit more blunt and it comes across as it can be very triggering for a lot of women, but I understand what they're saying. So what they're saying is this, okay, masculine energy, yeah, they'll compete with you, but they're not going to be attracted to that. They're not attracted to that. Okay, so yeah, they might think you're really amazing, that you're so strong, you're so smart, or you've had a lot of business success and you're really successful in your career and your profession. They'll respect that. That's not what attracts them
Right.
to you. And that's what you need to catch. And it's not to say, so a lot of women will think, well, that means I need to dumb myself down. You do not need to dumb yourself down. This is the number one thing that will separate you, whether you're dating or you're married. How does he feel in your presence? So that's what men talk about when they want peace.
Yes.
Not to say that they want a pushover. They
Right.
don't want a doormat. But they're busy, their masculine energy is constantly thinking, constantly competing,
Yes.
constantly proving themselves all day long. From the moment they wake up to the moment they go to bed. Masculine, I'm talking about healthy masculine energy. I'm not talking about the guy that's just sitting on the couch that's unhealthy and wounded. That's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the man. Most men, you guys.
Yeah.
It's not about being perfect, but most men are constantly thinking about providing, proving themselves, competing, finding their purpose, serving, giving. Most men are thinking about that. So if they're thinking about that all day long, and then you're talking to them on the phone because you're dating, or they come home to you and you're all up in your head energy too, and then all of a sudden you're triggered because you haven't done your inner work or inner healing, and they might have said something, or you're just feeling some type of way because you haven't done any inner work, any inner healing, then you're feeling that you need to prove yourself to them. So it's like, well, I do this and I do this and I've done this and I've done this, and like, or if you're dating, I've built this, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. You might be like, oh, that's great. But that's not what's going to make him, when he gets off the phone with you, be like, oh man, I want to be with that girl.
Right.
Here's the thing, I want you to catch this. He's not going to even know this. He's not going to understand this because it's so subconscious. He'd just be like, I'm just not into her. I'm just not feeling her.
Yeah.
Versus the woman, this is your superpower. So if you only hear this one thing, hear this. How is he feeling in your presence? A healed woman, a woman that is so healed in her feminine energy, knows her self-worth apart from her degrees, from what she's built financially, from what she's been through or hasn't been through, because she's healed that. Yes. And because of that, because she is healed, she can allow other people to feel special, to feel smart, to feel accomplished, to feel admirable in her presence. And because you're able to hold space to allow him to feel that respect, to feel that admiration, to feel like he's the hero, to feel like he's the man, no matter what is going on. Yes. Whether, it doesn't even matter how much is in his bank account in that moment, whether he's had a win or a loss or whatever. Your ability to just hold that space of, you have eyes of admiration towards him.
Yes.
That right there is so rare. And any man that is in your presence, that you're talking to, you're dating, or your husband, is going to want to always be around that, and naturally is going to want to protect that, because most people are busy tearing men down. They're busy putting them down, thinking that's what's going to motivate them. You don't do this, you don't do this. You're criticizing him. You're pointing out all of his flaws. You want him to do this better. You want him to do that better. You want him to do this better. You're so busy trying to prove your self-worth, not realizing that's coming from a wounded place, and you're competing with him. Well, I can do this, and I do this, and I do that. You don't realize what that's actually doing to him is actually, he's subconsciously starting to withdraw. Yes. Because he doesn't want to compete with other masculine energy. He wants to be in the presence of that healthy, healed, feminine energy that allows him to put his guard down, allows him to relax, allows him to get out of his head into his body. And when he's able to do that in your presence, ladies, and he's having fun with you, he's at peace with you, he's just calm in your presence. Okay, once he's in that, he will do anything to provide and protect that. Tell me if I'm wrong, babe.
No, I mean, you hitting it on the head with so many points, and just that competition, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because what we can help women understand is men are good at compartmentalizing, right? That's a real natural ability for most men.
Yeah.
So we'll be able to compartmentalize and say, okay, this is going well, this is going well. So you can be in a long-term relationship with a man and you not understand that you're still functioning in masculine energy. He may never fully commit to you, but because he's sticking around, you may not understand that it's the energy that's causing that relationship to come to a standstill. Right? So we'll compartmentalize and say, okay, she cooks good, so I'm going to stay with her.
It's convenient.
Yeah,
there's a level of convenience there.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
But for women that have been in long-term relationships, even if you've gotten engaged and you've been engaged for 3-4 years, he has no intent on marrying you because it could be those little areas where it's like this is a competition. It's something that's stopping him. He may love you, want to be with you. He really enjoys certain things about you, but a lot of times it could be that the competition, the masculinity, that hasn't been dealt with, or the going back and forth, just even as you mentioned as well, just pointing out every area that he's not doing well in, thinking that's going to motivate him. We make sure that we respect each other, because understanding that when you come to a man like that, he either it's the fight or flight, right?
Yeah, it's how men talk to each
yes
other. It doesn't make the man want to sleep with you.
Not at all.
Or marry
Not at all.
you.
And
Right?
and after a while, you continue that conversation. We may not be friends because I don't trust you. I think you have something against me. You're not rooting for me. And even as males, right? You're not around that type of guy if he's continuing to point out what you're not doing right. So it could be something as small as that, where you're in a long-term relationship and you never get over that hump.
Yeah.
That's where we look internally and say, okay, what areas do I need to really address? And a lot of times it can be that masculinity that helps get you over the hump and get to that next level. Or he just, at the end of the day, he's just decided this isn't the one and I'm just going to move on from him. But it's so convenient.
Yes.
And I've compartmentalized. And we're just going to, as long as it takes 20, 30 years, men stay in relationships forever.
Yeah, they'll be with the same woman, engaged, or boyfriend, girlfriend, even though I don't believe in that.
Yes. Yeah.
For 10 years.
Yeah.
This is how men have evolved. Men and women have evolved, okay? So this is why we get ourselves in these types of situations. So men have been wired for either hunting mode or convenience mode, which is conserving energy. So they've evolved where they would have to go out and hunt for days at a time. This is also why men can fast, like physically fast longer periods and still be focused, and it doesn't mess up their hormones, unlike women who, if they fast for long periods of time or like they're overdoing stuff, that's why it messes up our hormones. Okay, so that's the hormonal part of it. But even just energetically, men have been wired to go out and hunt for a few days, and then when they come home, they are resting. They have to conserve their energy, because then they have to go out and maybe fight another war, or they have to go hunt and feed their family, feed their tribe, right? And the alpha males survived, and the men that didn't, they died off, right? And that's how our genes have evolved over time. Same with nowadays men, and this is all subconscious, right? So that's why getting mad at a man over this is, you're wasting your time, because this is so subconscious. How men are wired too. It's like they're out there fighting, and then when they come home, they want to conserve their energy. Now, if you're in a relationship with a man where you're giving him all the benefits of being a wife, he isn't at that place of, I could not live without this woman. Like, I would do anything for that woman. Even if he knows he's not in that place, but you're giving him all the benefits of being there. It's convenient. Maybe it's the meals. Maybe he's living at your house, or you're living together. You're a nice girl, whatever. But he isn't going to go to bat and like fight for you. He's not going to like move to another country to provide and protect you. That's the type of man you want to be with, right? And there is men out there that will do that for you, but you have to activate that in him. You haven't required him to do that, so that's why he hasn't done it.
And what men will do is do things to hold the place, like holding your place in line, right? He'll get a ring. He'll take you places you want to go. He'll listen
tell you I
And
love
yes,
you.
whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Listen to see what you need in that moment, right? And give you what you need in that moment, but none of it will be long term. You know,
Yeah.
it'll be like, okay, she's talking like she really needs me to put our relationship status on Facebook, right? He'll put the relationship
Means
status up there.
nothing.
Right, he'll get a ring and may not call it an engagement, but make another name up for it, or take
Yeah.
you on vacation, or he'll start doing more around the
Fireworks.
house.
Yeah.
We'll do whatever is needed to
Mhm.
hold that place in line, but
Mhm.
never have intentions. If we know someone that we want to be with, we don't want to leave them out there to the wild, right?
Yes.
You don't. You
Yes.
got to take them off the market.
Real quick.
Yes, because you know the value that she brings, and you're like, other guys see this value too. So the longer
Mhm.
I let her just hang out,
Yep.
the more opportunity
Mhm.
another guy has to come and take, living in the wild, taking your prey.
Yes. Yes.
You know, so
Exactly.
you have to make sure you make that commitment quicker. And as well, you it's like, this is what I want, so I'm not going to waste time with it. So
Mhm.
men are quicker to make decisions
Mhm.
once we know that's what we want. He could be wounded, he could be going through some things, but the majority of the time you may not be the one.
Yeah, exactly. You're the woman he wants,
Yes.
and he needs space to come towards you. He has to. It's in his DNA, like the sperm.
Yeah.
He needs something to chase. And when I say chase, I'm not saying being manipulative. What I'm saying is the train is leaving. This train is leaving. If you want what's on this train,
Yeah.
you better lock that thing down. Otherwise, that train is leaving. And that's the energy you do have to have as a woman, right? And so you do have to give him something to come towards. It's different in dating than it is in marriage, and that's something I teach my ladies in my programs. But it's very much like, you're ladies, you're not in this energy of pick me. I need someone. I need you to do this. I need you. I need you. I need you. I need you. Like this, like super needy,
Yes.
desperate energy. Like, let me come to you. Let me do this. Like, you're doing all these. You're doing things to prove yourself to him constantly. That's not what attracts him to you, ladies.
Mm-hmm.
What attracts him to you is, how does he feel in your presence? That means phone calls, FaceTime. You guys are having coffee dates, you're dating. How does he feel in your presence?
Mm-hmm.
Are you in your head and he's in his head? And that's how the conversation, you're interviewing
Yes.
him. Like, you're just like
Right.
drilling him. Like, you see those shows and like, how much money you got?
Yes.
Like, blah, 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 how many, blah, blah. You're just like
Yep.
all these questions, and you're just like drilling the man, versus just let him talk.
Mm.
Let him prove himself to you. Let him make you laugh. Just have fun. Just sit and be present. And
Yes.
these are skills that,
Yes.
trust me, girls, I had to learn this.
Yeah.
Everything I'm talking about, I was that girl before, where I'm like, blah, blah, blah,
Yes.
proving my word. Like, I built this business, I got
Yes.
this degree, I got this, I got that, I got that. That's not what attracts them to you, to the point where they want to marry
Yes.
you.
Yes.
And while they're married to you, they would do anything for you because they just feel so
Yes.
good in your presence.
And guys can understand this. When
Mhm.
we're conversing and getting to know a woman, we're looking and hearing and listening to, okay, what type of mother is she?
Mhm.
How is she in certain environments,
Yeah.
right? When you bring her maybe to a work function or things like that, we're looking at all of that, and that is all a part of our decision making process on where she fit. Okay, is she wife material, or is she someone that I need to get to know a little more, or is she someone that I want to be a convenience, just convenience? So the attitude, the tone of voice, the type of friends you have, all of that factors in when we're just having conversations. Just as sure as I'm sure women are looking for certain things as well when they're talking to us. But that's how we're thinking for marriage. We're looking for a woman not trying to put herself out there to everybody, doesn't have a bunch of girl trip type of going out to the clubs and things like that, who really value family. We're looking at all of this just to see. And in that moment, we'll make a decision on what type of woman this could potentially be for us in the future, right? It may take 1 or 2 dates, 3 dates, but we're making that decision quickly. And from there, it's no going back. I don't care what you do. Decisions have been made, right? And that's why we have to make sure, even though men like feel like they want it and need it, have to make sure you really hold yourself back from really giving yourself to the man physically too quickly. That can make decision making a little more difficult for the woman.
Yeah, well, it also changes you hormonally.
Yeah.
So it even affects them hormonally. That's why you have to give them that space. Men fall in love through space, through time away from you. Versus where women, we fall in love through how much presence we are with them. You have to maintain, this is why you have to have your own life. This is why it's so important to rotationally date for marriage, something I teach my girls in my coaching membership. Like that will force him to make a decision really quick, and he will believe that it's his decision. Right, ladies, you have to have strategy when it comes to dating. And yes, they're saying, you know, it's their decision, and it is their decision at the end of the day, right? We don't force it on them. They have to feel like it's their decision. However, we can decide who we want to marry, right? And so if you're doing this properly, you're going to have multiple people that want to marry you. The thing is, no man wants to be with a woman that nobody else wants to be with.
That's true.
Right? They're not going to tell you that. I'm telling you stuff that I know they don't want you to know, but but at the end of the day, they don't want to be with a woman that
you don't want to just get
nobody else wants to be with.
You don't want to get handed the win, right?
No,
you want to earn the win.
That's why men love sports.
Yeah.
That's why men love hunting, you guys. Like, yeah, it's a really hard team, but they have a bigger high from the win because they had to work at it. That working energy is the masculine energy. They love that. They want that, and they want to celebrate that. So if you're just going, here, come find me, come take me, I'm right here, and you're not doing anything for them to work for you, just in their conscience, in their energy, they're not going to be so magnetized to you.
No.
Because it's not going to be, their masculine energy is not going to be activated in them. And that's when men feel the best, is when their masculine energy is fully activated. Just like for us ladies, that's when we feel so much better. Not only in relationships, but in our body, in our hormones. Ladies that are so in their masculine energy, and I work with all of them because I'm a hormone coach. Women that are heavy in their masculine energy, they're always busy doing things, and often they're the good-hearted women, really good women, women of faith, faithful women. They're such amazing women, but they're so unconscious to this, and they're so heavy in their masculine doing, proving my worth energy. I'll do this and this and this for you. They burn out their hormones, and they often have relationship issues, whether they're married or single, because they're too much in their doing energy. Just to show you girls that this is not about being a 10 out of 10 or having a perfect Instagram body or anything like this. How many beautiful women do you know right now on social media, celebrities, even probably women you know, and they're smart, they're gorgeous, you love them, you're like, oh, I love this girl, like her body is perfect, whatever, you look up to this woman, and this girl is so single, or she hasn't had a lot of relationship success. She maybe has baby daddy drama, she's been cheated on multiple times, she's just single, right? And so that proves to you that it's not about being perfect in how you look, and it's everything to do with your energy and how he feels in your presence, ladies. Honey, is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, and just adding to that, I know we spoke about it a little earlier about the woman not needing to be a 10, not needing to be perfect. The energy behind it, because we can look at a nice looking woman, of course, you're a 10, so you kind of, you're not in, I love you too, you're not in that category, but we can look at a 10 and just say, you know what, it's too much work. And not too much work in like spending money, it's just too much overall. We're really, you know, we're like minimalist. We don't need much.
They actually want simple.
Yeah, we don't need much. So if we think something is too much, just overall, we may not even investigate. It's just like, you know, that's too much. I don't have the energy to think about how much energy that takes, right? And we'll move on quickly. So
I'm so glad you said that. I have to add this, babe. This is so important. Men that are like masculine, healthy masculine men are so busy doing things. That's what he's saying. We don't have the time or energy to want to then come home and fight with you or feel some type of way with you every time I talk to you. That's why it's the healthy masculine man that would just walk away versus the unhealthy men that do have a lot more time on their hands will fight with you. They will go out of because they have the time. They will spend hours wasting their time and your time fighting with you. And they're super emotional, and they could look perfect on the outside because they spend so much time on how they look. This is another sign that, ladies, you have to check. A masculine man, a healthy masculine man, it has nothing to do with how he looks also. typically provider masculine men are so busy, like what he's
Mm.
saying, they're not taking time to make sure that they got the perfect chiseled
Right.
body and the perfect skin complexion and the perfect whatever. And I mean, there are some men that do that, and that's amazing. Okay, and I'm also not saying that, you know, just because a man has a dad bod, that means his masculine. That's not what I'm saying at all.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, a lot of times women, and there's even shows, unfortunately, that promote this, that you're supposed to judge a man to see how masculine is based on how he looks. And ladies, no, especially when you're online dating or you're talking to a guy and you're judging him based on how he looks, you are in your masculine. You're looking at him as the feminine, because men first judge based on looks, and then they stay with you based on how they feel. Okay, so that is so important. There's so much more I want to teach you girls, which is why I have all my coaching programs around dating,
so much more,
divine feminine energy, manifestation, dating, and marriage in my coaching programs. And the reason why this is important for you, because you're like, okay, how do I get into my feminine energy then? Okay, how do I change this? This is what they always say. It's not more head knowledge. It's not about reading more books. It's not about any of that. It's an embodiment. We actually have to work on your energy. And that did not make sense to me when I was in my masculine. I thought it was another thing I had to learn or another thing I had to do. No, that's not what it is. In my programs, it's not about doing more. It's actually activations that I give you to help you embody your feminine energy that you already have. You already have it. It's just been buried deep inside of you because all the masculine head knowledge you have. Once you practice, start letting go and activating this, the change is almost instant. All my ladies in my programs, the men always come running to them. Always. And it's all because they're so activated in their healthy, whole, divine feminine energy, which is how God has made them. And it makes you so magnetic and so attractive.
Jump in the community, get more info. Yeah, I mean, it's so much more, but we'll leave it there.
So I deeply understand what it takes for a woman to heal and really start embodying that energy that becomes so magnetic, so potent, that all your desires start coming towards you in a healthy way. And that's what I want to help you do. So we have a 30-day challenge. We'll leave the link below. You can come and you're going to learn from me. You get to learn from Brian, who we're actually living this out. You know, we're a blended family and we're living our best life right now. We want to help you do that.
Even as you're getting your body and everything together, for most women, the ultimate goal is to get in a healthy relationship.
Yes, that's what we care about.
Yes, so really just helping from that angle and being able to bring that masculine energy to understand how we think.
Yes, and the biggest thing that we want you guys to know, whoever's watching this, does not matter if you've been single your whole life, you've been divorced 5 times, you've gone through a loss like me, you know, you're a single mom, whatever it is, or maybe you're 20 and we want to help you prevent some of the stuff that we've had to go through. But you're never too far gone, and things can change instantly, but you have to make that decision right now. You have to start embodying that right now. You're not waiting for him. It's you, babe. Okay? So that's what I want you to leave with. And yeah, we love you.